Welcome to our inaugural episode of Hidden Money Unleashed. The intent of this, although we've been doing video setup for the last 30 minutes, the intent was this to have an informal weekly get together where we're not focused on just the details of tax and tax planning, but to broaden it out and offer an unleashed perspective from Kevin and Mike on stuff.
Just anything, because there's like Mike and I, we share a wall with each other. And so many times you'll read something on the news, come in, and we'll just kind of chat about politics or the economy or whatever it is, just life. We just talk about life and we're like, man, we should have hit a record button on that. That was good. And so that's kind of the genesis of this is we just want to have a relaxed environment where we get to just talk about what we love to talk about. Let y'all get a little bit behind the scenes of who we are as people. Like we are CPAs, but we're actually humans too. We have
We're not
lives.
normal CPAs. I just want to make that very, very clear.
Very different, but we're going to have fun with it. And I'm excited.
I am too.
Because also there's a hidden tax money or hidden money benefit of this.
This medium expensive bottle of bourbon, WhistlePig, aged 10 years, is now a tax-deductible expense to our business. So we are going to have an alcoholic beverage, health allowing, each and every one of these, and we're hoping to do it at least once a week. So
Yeah.
welcome to our inaugural podcast, y'all.
Yeah. And I would be drinking whiskey with Mike. It's just, I've been doing this like carnivore diet thing. And I mean, if you just are on the internet researching any diets, you're going to come across this carnivore thing. And it's helped me lose a ton of weight. Like, and I'm not a big guy, but I've been going to the gym and stuff. And I've just noticed I can't shed belly fat and I can't shed all these other areas that I'm like, hey, I'm
all getting old, man.
Yeah. So now that I'm in my 40s, I can't just slim up. And so now I'm actually have to incorporate some sort of diet.
Cry me a river from a guy who's about to turn 50. I know. Oh no, I'm 40.
It's all right. But I've been cooking just straight meat. That's all I eat. I eat ground beef, bacon, eggs, and all this kind of stuff. Well, I meal prepped and I cooked a bunch of ground beef. Like I cooked probably 3 or 4 pounds of it and just stuck in the fridge and I just scoop it out at dinner or whatever, put some cheese on it, sour cream. And being the accountant I am, I try to save money everywhere, every single place. It's really a curse. I view my life as maximizing savings, minimizing expenses. It really makes me good at my job, but try being married to me. And no,
Couldn't do it.
So I opened up the little meal prep of beef, and it was probably a week and a half old, and I talked myself into it. I was just like, it's fine.
Brilliant.
It's fine. It's beef. I'm going to cook it again. It's already been in the pan. It's going to be in the microwave. I'm fine. Well, it wasn't fine. So I saved a few dollars. I ate that beef, but it came out real quick and it put me on the couch the next day. So that was yesterday. So now I'm having a beer, but normally I'd be having a bourbon with you. It's just, I think that might be too hard, going too hard, too fast for me.
Yes.
And that would be a really weird episode if I
just Ralphed all over the place.
Yeah, that would be super.
Actually, that could go viral.
It could. I don't want to be known that throwing up CPA.
You should take one for the team. We could go viral, become famous by you Ralphing all over your nice stuff.
No, I don't want to be famous for that. I don't even want to be famous. But I'm having a Blue Moon. So Blue Moon is a beer that I love. It has like these like you put an orange in it. It's very citrusy. It's just a little lighter for me.
Yeah.
So it's healthy. It's got some vitamin C too.
This is the first time I've had WhistlePig 10 year. I've had WhistlePig 3. It's good, smooth. WhistlePig 7. It's good, smooth. This is definitely a lot smoother. I had a lot of fun prepping for this yesterday. I took our firm credit card and I went out to the Goody Goody Liquor and I found their bourbon aficionado. And this guy, he was a Kiwi from New Zealand. So I had a lot of fun. I went and this guy showed me lots of different bourbons and there's some north of over $100 bottles of bourbon I would never buy for myself, but because it's tax deductible and I'm excited about this show, you'll see the expense come through on our firm's financials. It was a little bit high, but boy, was that fun.
That's what I was told. I think it was like $500-600 of bourbon. You're like, hey, I hooked this up for the show.
Yes,
all tax deductible now. So that's how you sold it to me. So
IRS paid for over a third of it.
Yeah, I think we should come out with like hidden money, like sports. And then we can go travel and go watch sport. Oh, you wouldn't like that. I would.
Yeah.
But that might verge on entertainment unless we are actually providing some sort of maybe benefit or review or statistics on the game. I don't know. Because then it's not entertainment. You can send me to the Rangers away games because we're in Texas, so I would just follow the Rangers around. You fly me out. I go to some Ranger games. I do a little live podcast, Hidden Money Sports. There you go.
We could make an ordinary necessary argument for that. With tax, and that's the thing that Kevin and I love about it and really separates us from most CPAs. Almost anything is possible. You got to formulate the right argument, but we can make it do. We can make it happen. And we also had this amazing guy, my mentor in the tax world, join our firm this month, which is super exciting. A tax attorney, spent many, I think more than 2 decades with the Treasury Department, high up, arguing against people like you and me and our clients. But he's come over to the bright side, and I've learned so much from him. Now he's part of the firm. And I was talking to him yesterday, and he said, I was telling him about I called like 4 of my friends about the bourbon run, right? I am buying tax-deductible bourbon. And I called and told him about that. He's like, man, that's a great argument. And you don't need that much of an argument. Here's what you do. And he reiterated that there's always a way to do what you want to do with tax, as long as you follow the rules.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's our job.
I love our job.
Changing our facts to change your tax. That's what you're saying, and you're going to get it tattooed. I'm sure of it by the time we retire.
I don't think I coined that. I think that might have been
Well, I've never heard
a
it.
wheelwright.
I've never heard it.
So,
is it in print?
It's very likely in print.
it.
So
Okay.
let's give props to Tom Wheelwright. A couple generations ago, he was a amazing change agent in the CPA world. He brought out tax planning. He was part of that whole what's that guy? The Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki.
Mm-hmm.
So he was Kiyosaki's CPA, and he helped write Rich Dad Poor Dad and showed the value of tax, and was the first person to kind of introduce the world to tax is not just some dumb thing. It's not just an annoying thing. It is powerful. It can grow your wealth. It can really make you a lot of money. But he's kind of stuck in the same rut that he's been for the last 20 years. I mean, they got a decent firm. He writes some great books. Tax-Free Wealth, I love that book. He's a great educator for the public. But we're taking that to another level, in my opinion. Humble opinion.
I think so too.
Yes.
I think the marketplace is dying for this kind of stuff, and that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to kind of get behind a little bit about your story, because you're a very interesting person. I think of all the people I've worked with, we don't have to go into all the details because I know a lot about you. We don't have to go into everything.
Let's keep some of that to ourselves.
Yes. But you have a very just football player. I mean, just going up through college, going into the Big Four in the Silicon Valley area to now here in Roanoke, Texas. It's a very weird story bouncing across the US. So tell me a little bit cleaner version of who Mike Pine is.
Wow, Kevin. So that's why you wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot.
Well, you need a few more drinks, maybe, and then we'd get a little bit more, but
yeah, it's not going to happen. Not while we have a camera. So I'll be honest, CPA was my fallback plan. I was never going to be a CPA. And as a matter of fact, so I was an outdoors guy. I was a football player, a lineman, believe it or not. Weighing 288 was my playing weight at UT Chattanooga. And I was never planning on being a CPA. I was a fly fishing guide throughout high school up in British Columbia. So fly fishing, horseback riding, football, something fun, active. CPA did not sound that fun to me. But I remember my granddad, who grew up during the Depression, an amazing man. He told me he even ran away from home when he was 12 years old for 2 years and hitchhiked across North America in his Boy Scout uniform with a friend of his named Harry. They both wear their Boy Scout uniforms, hitchhiked to get away from their family because they didn't want their families to have to feed them and all their siblings. I think he had like 9 brothers and sisters.
Jeez.
And he ran away for 2 years, went all the way up to Alaska by hitchhiking. They would spend the nights in jail cells because the police felt bad for them and let them sleep there and would give them a donut and coffee in the morning, a 12-year-old.
Huh.
Amazing man. When I was in college, I did not know what I wanted to do. I wanted to fly fish and downhill ski for the rest of my life, and I wasn't good enough at either of those to get paid for it. So I was talking with him, and he mentioned there were only 3 professions during the Depression that had no problem always putting food on the table for their family. And he said it was doctors, lawyers, and CPAs. Well, my dad was a doctor. My mother was a nurse, registered nurse. My sister had already got her RN by this time in my college. My stepmother's a PharmD doctorate. And I thought they worked way too much. Like, I said, no way, I'm not going to work those hours. All the attorneys I met seemed kind of soulless, and I didn't want to go there either. Sorry, I met a lot of good attorneys since then, but at that point, I thought I would have to lose my soul to be an attorney. So I chose CPA, but it was only for just in case. If I have to fall back, I'm going to go into it. Well, speed forward, I was in my senior year in class up at Montana State University in Bozeman. And we were taking this class. This is the second time I took it. I dropped it the first time. Second time I took it, Advanced Accounting, Business Combinations and Consolidations. I hated that class. It was just so much. It wasn't fun at all for me. And I wasn't good at it because I wasn't having fun. And I was ready to change my major. I was thinking, you know what? I'm enjoying fly fishing up here when I'm going to school. The skiing is great. I'll just go to school for 3 more years and pick a different major. But I was in the accounting club too. Not because I had fun with it.
The accounting club.
There were girls in the accounting club.
That sounds like the worst college experience.
Theta Alpha Psi, baby, all the way. But I was in that.
Very weird.
There were some.
What do you do in an accoung club?
You talk
about, like, you race, like, at other challenges?
It was the VP of Finance and Socials or something. But I brought the fun to the party, and my accounting class at Montana State University, we had a lot of fun. But anyways, I was actually planning on the following week to change my major and go tell my advisors. And we had at the accounting club meeting, a guy from the venture capital and private equity group of PricewaterhouseCoopers down in the Silicon Valley came out to recruit us. And he gave this presentation. He was talking about venture capital, private equity. And all I could hear is, he never said accounting. I liked it, and they wanted to hire interns. So I applied for that internship and surprisingly got it. And I went down there, and it was a tax internship, and it was doing taxes for some of the biggest venture capital companies and private equity groups you've ever heard of. And I got to work on those as a young guy right out of college, not even graduate yet. And I saw some cool things, and I got to see the power of tax and how it impacted people's lives. And I loved it. Amazingly, I loved it. So I didn't think it was accounting. This was tax. I'm not doing accounting. And most people in my class went into audit, and I think we had the CFO of Netflix was one of my party classmates, Ed and Beta Alpha Psi. A lot of people went and did that, were very successful. I loved tax. So I got into tax. Fast forward, let me speed this up. It's supposed to be a short podcast. I loved it, but I didn't see where we were truly changing people's lives. So, and it was a sweatshop. Sorry, you go work at it. It's changed a lot now, but we had to work over 100 hours a week or you're never going to get promoted.
And they just laid off Pricewaterhouse just laid off 1,500 people.
They did. If you have recently been laid off by PricewaterhouseCoopers and you're looking for a new job, we're hiring.
Yeah.
Call Revo Taxpayer Advocacy. Yeah, so I got out of there and I bounced around for a while. I actually went back to finish my graduate degree for 2 classes I needed to pick up. And my plan was go be a tax attorney. Boy, those 2 classes I had to pick up. It was only 2 classes. I remembered and realized how much I liked working in the real world and not in school. And I did not want to go back to school for 3 years. So I nixed that and I found a small firm down here in DFW, medium-sized firm, but they actually worked with the individual taxpayers, not the huge investment partnerships. And that's where the rubber met the road. And I loved it. Then it all came together. All my education that I thought was just a backup plan, I saw the power of it. And the power of it is exceptional. I mean, you realize people, their biggest expense in their life is not housing, it's not car payments, it's not bad marriages, it is the income tax they're paying. If you can help reduce that or mitigate that, people can have a completely different lifetime than they would have otherwise. And I was hooked. That's the mostly short story. I could go on for hours about it, but that's where we're here. And then we met and partnered up and we got a really, really cool business.
Yeah.
And changing people's lives.
Yeah, I think we're getting a lot of traction with people opening up to the idea. I think we even had a review on Google that said, I am looking forward to filing next year. So if we could figure out how to make tax filing anticipated for our clients, if they're planning, they're like, this was great. it feels like you got a little payday, not because you're over withholding. It's because you're implementing strategy, reducing your taxable income, freeing up the more withholding than you normally would be getting refunded, or not paying tax in altogether. So that client, it was a really cool eye opener. Like he's like, "This is great. I can't wait to even file next year," because he's implementing the strategies, and it feels like you're getting a bonus. Like you are getting paid because less money's going out the door. That expense on your balance sheet or your profit and loss statement as an individual is going down.
And instead of that money going to that particular taxpayer, instead of it going to the IRS, it went into an investment. And now they're growing their net worth, their financial freedom, their opportunities to choose how to live their lives.
Yeah.
Instead of flushing the money down the toilet with
Yeah.
the Department of Treasury and the US government,
Yeah.
who is still not yet become efficient, even post 2 months of dope.
Yeah. Well, I think we should have like a hidden money event, and we could do it up in Bozeman, or we could do it up somewhere north. And
Bozeman.
if we can do we could do some fly fishing. I've never fly fished. So see, hidden money everywhere.
So, Kevin, I promise you in our next episode of Unleashed, we're going to dig into your history. But I'm giving you a week to prepare for that.
I hit you on the spot. I did.
But let me ask you this. You say we're not normal CPAs, we're tax planners. What's going on in our business world right now and in our client relations world and tax planning?
Well, it's a weird spot we're in because we want to be proactive in our clients' lives tax planning throughout the year. Normally we can. This year it's kind of weird. We have tax law that's been implemented but could be changing here, and literally this is June or May. So literally in 2 months we could have new tax law that changes all the tax planning work we do from today on. So we're kind of like in this holding pattern of just saying, what are we going to be doing with this tax law? So what we're going to do is, as soon as the bill hits the floor and we have some sort of framework of what is this tax cuts going to be, if it's going to be this Trump tax cuts permanent, or I mean, who knows what's going to be in there? There's going to be some weird kickers in there, I'm sure. So what we're going to do is Mike and I are going to pretty much pull an all-nighter, probably learn this thing. The very next day, we're going to do live Instagram, live Facebook, live X, wherever we can go.
Yep.
And we are going to go through the bill live, and y'all are free to just jump in, ask questions. We can't guarantee we'll have all the answers from an overnight cram session, but we are going to try to understand this bill as much as we can. And then we're going to do a webinar, or we're going to record other videos and post them on Hidden Money. But that's kind of our initial attack plan, is to let's get out there, let's understand this. Then when we do, we can start offering tax planning again for our clients. So it's been weird because if a client comes in like off the streets and they're like, "Hey, I'm having a really good year. What do I do?" I'm like, "Well, here's some strategies that we could implement."
It's so obnoxiously annoying right now because what we've been trying to do is educate our client base and educate the public. You need to proactively tax plan. Time is money in tax planning. Start tax planning January 1st. And now, because of the inefficient nonsense in Washington, D.C. and our Congress, and I'm going to go ahead and call out the people I voted for, the Republican Congress, they're how do I say this nice? I don't want to curse, but their nonsense and self-serving crap, instead of doing what's right for the country, they're worried about keeping their jobs because they only want to be congressmen, and it shouldn't be that way. And it wasn't that way when our country was founded.
Yeah.
But these guys and gals care more about holding their offices than doing what they know is right. So there's a bunch of bickering back and forth. We know what the right thing is. We just need politicians to pull up their big boy pants or big girl pants and do what is right for the country. Like, I thought that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Pass the dang law.
I mean,
instead, we're telling our clients, hey, well, we've told you, you got to start tax planning January 1st, but wait, hold off. We might wait a little bit, and we can't tell them when it's time to start.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm not annoyed about it at all.
I can hardly tell.
Okay.
So, but there is still some planning you could do. It's just putting pen to paper. Like right now, we have 40% bonus depreciation. It could go to 100%. That's a huge delta in your tax plan. But more than likely, the tax law of obtaining that bonus is not going to change. So we could plan on getting 40% bonus. Then if it gets upped, it's just kind of gravy on it,
Bonus.
So it is kind of better. But still, if you're trying to just get by with paying the least amount of tax on your estimated payments or your withholding or whatever it is, and we're leaning on bonus to do that, it's almost impossible to plan. You would have to plan on 40%, then you'd be overpaying if it gets passed to 100.
Right.
So there's still like real estate rules likely not going to change. The oil and gas stuff likely not going to change. There might be some kickers on there, but the credits, I anticipate more credits to come out, which is a dollar for dollar reduction of tax, and that could be huge too. And we got some exciting things that we're kind of working on of credit partnerships that we'll kind of get into, where you could be a member of a partnership and get tax credits allocated to you. Super exciting stuff. So we're getting creative on kind of what we can offer.
And those credits are going to be leveraged. So you might put in 100 grand and get 130 grand reduction in taxes, or maybe even 230 grand reduction in taxes. That's going to be fun.
But not a tax deduction. That's like a payment.
Yeah.
So if you owed the IRS $130,000 in taxes, you could buy into this partnership for like 100, and then it would cover your 130 tax liability. So you come out 30 ahead. Yeah, and that's on the low end. But there is going to be we'll have to get into the details of it, but you can't just simply buy into a partnership and sit back and get it. There is going to be a little bit of due diligence on your end, but it's out there.
So time out, listeners and viewers. This is what Kevin and I like to nerd out about. This is the fun stuff in our job. Now, I understand and actually thankful there's not a lot of people in the public that love this stuff as much as us, because we'd have competition, or at least more competition.
Yeah.
But this is our fun at work. And work can be fun. Yes, we're CPAs. Yes, we work in tax. God, I love this job.
It is fun. It is fun. And with this changing economy we're in, I mean, all these tariffs and everything, all these economical plays happening with different countries like Vietnam, and all these things. It is an exciting time to be in finance. I think there's a lot of upside. My opinion is we're at least heading in the right direction.
Yes.
I feel like for the past 4, 8, 12 years, we have been going, I don't know, maybe not all 12 years, but I just feel the economy actually picking up a little bit. There's faith in our country.
Well, look at the job reports. The last 2 months, they have blown through the expectations.
Yeah.
Consumer index, sentiment index is up. I mean, something is changing, and it's for the positive. We're no longer just accepting that the USA is going to decline.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we've kind of been in that holding pattern for a long time over the last decade and a half. Now there's some excitement and potential.
Yeah. And looking at the stock market. Now, I'm a CPA. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take anything I say to the bank. I'm just giving you my opinion. The stock market, and we knew it was going to dip a little bit. I knew it was going to go down because we're shocking the system. It's kind of like you're purging, you're cleaning house. So there's going to be a lot of reconstruction needed. And so the market has tanked. Great time to get in. Now, I start to see it climb up slowly but surely. But I mean, it was a good time to buy into you bought into Tesla. That was a good play. I mean, I think
so far it's looking like a really good play.
Tesla was way down with all the flack that Elon's been getting. Like,
all the flack that was causing it to go down had nothing to do with the company itself and the product they had.
No.
When you see that, my brain hits
the product was still good.
It's good, and the future is good.
Yeah. And Elon's backing out of Doge, right? And that was the whole plan from the beginning. Elon wasn't going to say this is going to be my full-time job. His duty is to the shareholders of Tesla. That is his main duty. But in a way, by serving the country in the way he has been, I do feel like he's serving the shareholders. It's kind of like ripping off a Band-Aid. They don't like a process.
In an interview, they said, "Hey, you're killing the stock." He said, "If America keeps going down this trend, if we continue down this path without making serious change, there will be no America, or at least no first world America, and the rest of the world is going to fall apart. If you want to have an economically sound investment, he's doing all that he could at his businesses, but we got to change. We can't let America go bankrupt. If America goes bankrupt, the dollar goes to nothing.
It's not good for any business.
It's
not good for my business. Not good for your anything.
Not good for our children's business.
No. And Elon, like, he's a goof. Like, the guy is such a nerd. But like being an accountant, I reside with, like, I really connect with him in that way. Is because he does goofy dances, the chainsaw stuff. I'm like, dude, you just got to kind of take it down a little bit.
We're going to go a little bit into who Kevin is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a big
nerd. You and Elon share something.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're both on the spectrum.
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
What spectrum are you on?
So I have ASD. It's formerly known as Asperger's. they no longer call it Asperger's. They just call it autistic syndrome disorder.
Okay.
So there's 3 levels of it. I'm level 1, which just means I'm super analytical. Uh, Go figure. I'm very analytical. I'm very black and white. And I don't my biggest issues in life, I think, are just social cues. I am unable to read people to an extent that I think you could or my wife can. So like my wife is
Yeah.
super she's not on the spectrum, but she is super just very like just high spirited, very emotionally intelligent. So God put me with her I know for a specific reason. It's
Amen.
because I have this shortfall and she helps me a lot with it. But no, it's served me well in my career. I'm very task oriented. I'm very routine based. Like if I get in a routine, I have to stay in routine. I'm very predictable. I'm very steady. But that's part of kind of how that wires you. It's very, I
I feel
don't,
like God put us together as partners, I think, too, because I am not any of that. I hate
yeah,
routine, and we balance each other out
yeah,
in this firm.
yeah. But, I'm very unemotional. What you like about me is because, things could be on fire and I'll just be like staring at you and I'll be like, yep, it'll be fine.
We
Like
call
I don't feel anything.
Kevin's nickname of this firm is Spock.
Yes.
He's very Spock.
Yes. Very Spockish. And so, I have cried very few times in my life, but when I found out I had ASD1, I did cry.
Really?
Yeah. I was in my
This is
office.
news to me.
Yeah. I was there. No, I was in my office at home.
Oh,
And I took a test. I went to it was called Autism 360 or something. I went to this and I took a test and it goes, You are like 95% sure. We are 95% sure with the results you gave us that you're on the spectrum. And it's like, I felt weak. I felt like broken and I felt like something was wrong with me. And I actually cried in my home office and I can only remember crying probably 2 or 3 other times in my life.
wow.
But I did cry. And Ty walked in and she's like, what is happening to my husband?
You're
What
freaked out.
is this? She's like, what? And I was just looking at my iPad and she came in there and she's super empathetic to me. And yeah, from then on, I actually went to um, a neuro lab, I guess, and got tested. It was like a 4 to 6 hour test. They had me do all these puzzles and maths and patterns. And I'm like, I know patterns and I know math like super quick. But then what was eye opening is they had a piece of paper and it had all these facial expressions.
Mhm.
So people like doing this or this, like different emotions. But they didn't have the emotion written on it. And so they had all these pictures of people doing this and just little subtle changes.
Mhm.
And then they gave me a list of emotions and I had to connect the emotion to the face. I failed it. Failed it. I'm like that. Like I know this is kind of where my break happens and kind of where I need growth. But it's kind of like I see somebody, they're either happy, sad, or mad.
Mm.
And so I don't know, I can't tell if someone's the difference between frustrated and disappointed, embarrassed, like those spatial cues and stuff. That is hard for me to tell on people. But if you're happy, I'll be like, that guy's happy. But he could be is ecstatic or he could be elated, which are just synonyms of it, but they are different levels of happy
Huh.
that I'm just like, they're happy or they're sad or they're mad.
Huh.
And so that's kind of where Ty helps. And like, I think we were even talking yesterday. We were on the couch yesterday and she goes, so what, she goes, tell me 3 things that you just want to tell me. Just tell me 3 random things. And I told her and then one of them was a frustration dealing with something at the house. And she goes, well, how'd that make you feel? And I go, mad. She goes, how did that really make you feel? And I was like, it made me mad. She goes, no, there's more adjectives. There's more you could use. When you say you're mad, that doesn't tell me what you were feeling. That's like a broad term of what you're feeling, but that's how I categorize everything. And so she really just spent time with me and like helping me understand how I felt.
Huh.
So it's super weird.
I wonder if women who have Asperger's or whatever other one, if they also have it that hard, because I don't think I do have Asperger's, but I mean, that's the more you can boil it down to 3 variables versus 50 variables, it's just more efficient, man. I like
Thank you. Yeah, I could categorize it
yeah,
in my head.
move on.
Move on. I'm like, I'm mad. I gotta go.
I found I did a test. I guess it's probably the opposite of what you have or within reason. And I didn't cry when I found out. Apparently, I definitively have ADHD, and I have probably since I was a young kid. And when I found out about this and they explained what it is, I was like, oh, thank God. Now I know why I'm so screwed up and weird. So I was happy.
It's like I got a solution.
I was happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 49 years old, found that out. You're finding it a lot younger.
Yeah. Well, I'm 41. So yeah, I mean, it's constant learning. And, like the thing I love to do is once I learn something, I want to understand it.
Mhm.
And then, so like I'm seeing a counselor about it just to see how do it's not even, I don't consider it like coping. It's just more like, how do I go through life, because my children need like
Yeah.
an emotional father. They need someone attuned to because I have,
Especially your two girls.
yeah, I got 2 daughters and a newborn son. The newborn son I can handle. But I have an 11 and a 10-year-old daughter, and going through life unable to diagnose their emotions is very hard because I get very I tell my kids a lot, and I'm getting better at this, but like they'll get upset about something silly, like, "Oh, I forgot my iPad's not charged," and they'll get really mad. I'm like, "Stop feeling so it's not a big deal."
Yeah.
And I'm constantly telling them I'm constantly telling them it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. All that, and my counselor is helping me with this, but she's like, all you're doing is reiterating, like, stuff your feelings. Like, you really are frustrated. You didn't charge your iPad overnight before school. Like, that really is something they feel. And you're saying it's really not a big deal. Just charge it at school or charge it.
Gotta empathize.
Yeah. And so that is something I lack because I don't feel the range that they feel. And so when they feel really happy or very sad, I'm just kind of like right in the middle. And I'm like, I can't relate to them. And so I'm just like, stop feeling that way. I was like, quit. You're acting crazy. Stop it. And that's not a good father move.
It's good you're dealing with it now and learning about it now instead of when your girls hit puberty. They're gonna need you. They're gonna need you.
Those 100-hour work weeks may come back. I'm like, I gotta work.
So we just went on a big segue here or tangent by accident, but the point is you and Elon share being on the spectrum together, and there's some genius in it. As you heard, Kevin loves the patterns and being able to see those things and the logic. So just want to point out, I mean, yeah, it's self-promotion. You can work with Hidden Money's or Revo Taxpayer Advocacy's version of Rain Man here.
Yeah.
Revo Taxpayer Advocacy. We got a Rain Man on.
A Rain Man, sure.
Yes.
Human calculator.
I'm taking you to Vegas, dude.
Yeah, okay. Count cards.
Yeah, let's do it.
Is that illegal? Can you count cards?
I don't think it's illegal, but it's against like the casino rules. So if you do it, you got to not get caught.
How do you get caught? Because it's all in.
Hey, in blackjack, they don't figure it out.
But they also use like 5 decks at once, don't they? They have like a big tray.
There's a system for that, and it works until all that free booze gets you to lose your count. But there's a system for those 5 decks.
Hidden money gambling.
Yeah.
Colon gambling. Now we're going to Vegas on a tax write-off.
We ought to. After Bozeman.
How to count cards.
All right. This was supposed to be short. Is there anything else we want to express or that you want to express on our inaugural least episode?
No, hopefully we sip some nice bourbon next week. I'm looking forward to that nice bottle you got in there that you're excited about. No, we'll just keep our finger on the pulse of the politics of what's going on. I think some trade deals that Trump's putting out there are going to be changing some things, but this tax law is going to be kind of where we really hammer in. So stay tuned. That's the biggest thing, is just stay up to date. Follow us everywhere you can, because we'll be out there.
Yeah. Thank you for watching this. And please, even if you don't believe us, consider the fact that nerding out a little bit on taxes can change your life.
Yeah.
Hidden Money Unleashed. Thanks for hanging there.